something that lasts. The entrepreneurs shaping today's world are simply not creating businesses, they're creating ecosystems, generating opportunities where none previously existed, influencing industries, shifting policies and cultural narratives, empowering others to realize their own aspirations. Their impact extends beyond the boardroom and balance sheet. They reach families, communities, institutions, and future generations. This conversation is particularly meaningful for women leaders and founders who often navigate unique challenges as they build their ventures, from securing visibility and influence in competitive environments to balancing growth with purpose and expanding across markets, overcoming setbacks with resilience. Today, we will hear from remarkable founders who have not only built successful enterprises, but they have also leveraged their platforms to create meaningful change. So with that, let's begin. Please join me in welcoming our distinguished panelists as we explore what it means to build beyond business and step into the realms of courage, conviction, personal transformation, influence, and legacy. First, we have Neve White. Most entrepreneurs build businesses to solve problems. Some create organizations that fundamentally change how society thinks and cares for its most vulnerable. Neve is the CEO and co-founder of Hospital Rooms, a charity dedicated to transforming highly restricted mental environments through world-class contemporary arts and creative programs. Awarded an MBE in 2025 for her services to art, Neve also served as a senior research fellow at Norwich University, a professional fellow at Leeds University, and she holds a background in visual cultures from Goldsmiths University of London. Next, we have Amy Watson. Amy represents a new generation of founders who see entrepreneurship as a catalyst for meaningful social change, not just commercial success. A social impact entrepreneur, Amy is passionate about using business as a force for good to tackle society's most complex and deeply rooted challenges. In October 2024, Amy founded Hustle to challenge the long-standing narrative that women's safety is solely a woman's responsibility. Her mission is to shift that responsibility to society as a whole and drive systemic change. With a background spanning social enterprise and startups, Amy has launched and scaled purpose-driven ventures whilst working across marketing and finance. Throughout her career, one constant has remained: a commitment to creating lasting social impact through innovation and enterprise. And last but not the least, we have Judy Koloko. Judy is the founder and CEO of the Steam Bar, a premium hair care brand that has quickly established itself as one of the industry's rising success stories. The brand launched exclusively with Selfridges at the end of 2023, and in 2025, its shampoo was awarded Best Scalp Care by Elle magazine. The Steam Bar reached another major milestone this year with its launch at Sephora.com. Beyond her entrepreneurial success, Judy is a proud mother of two. Her son is currently studying at Yale, while her daughter, who is visually impaired and lives with cerebral palsy following an accident she had as a baby, has been Judy's greatest source of strength and inspiration. Her daughter's resilience has profoundly shaped Judy's outlook on life, purpose, and leadership, driving her determination to build a business that often reflects perseverance, excellence, and impact. Let's give them all a round of applause. It's a real pleasure to have all three of you with us today. Whilst I've just read your biographies, I would like you to tell the audience a bit about yourself. If you could please take 2 minutes each and talk about yourself and how you've come to do the work you are doing today. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to start by just saying an enormous thank you to Ebersan for the invitation here today. It feels like an enormous expression of trust and one that I hope that I can live up to. My name is Neve. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Hospital Rooms. We're an arts and mental health charity that's been going for 10 years now. And the reason we started the charity was because a friend of ours was sectioned under the Mental Health Act and required to go into an inpatient mental health ward. That environment was not just clinical and beige, it was actively dilapidated, run down, and hostile towards her when she was so young. And when we saw that space, we realised that a change could be made. Our background was in the arts. I'm a curator and my partner is an artist. And our idea was you could bring artists into these spaces, work with communities of patients and staff, and radically rethink what a mental health space could possibly be. Today, we've installed 250 artworks across England. We've also introduced a digital art school to give people an opportunity to be creative. That's had over 300,000 views. We'll continue.
Yeah, I would also like to reiterate it's such an honour to be here, so thank you so much for having me. As you've already said, I founded Castle just over 18 months ago now, so we're still very new. But essentially, we are a global social enterprise tackling primarily harassment, but violence against women and girls as, an entity at its roots, primarily by inviting men to be part of the conversation and solution. I always say our mission is to redirect the responsibility away from women to stay sane, or like do a little speech marks because we know that doesn't work most of the time, and actually redirect that responsibility onto society to do better, to build a safer world, so one day we don't have to do that. We've grown very quickly. We now have more than 3,000 ambassadors across 120 countries across the world. Including more than 1,000 men that are part of our advocacy initiative. We do a whole range of initiatives, but it's all primarily about meeting men where they are to invite them to be part of the solution, so that it's not just women doing the work, because it has been for so long, and men need to use their privilege to create change so that we can be safe.
Yeah.
What's the Steam Bar? The Steam Bar is a premium haircare brand for coily, textured, and afro hair. An elevated hair experience like no other, where digital culture meets culture. My previous job was in fashion, so my whole entire life I've worked as an agent. I've been fortunate to have looked after some of the most sought after artists in the world. I've headed one of the biggest creative agencies and managed the US and the London office. This is where the Steam Bar actually started. It was, traveling, staying at the most amazing hotels, looking after the biggest creators in the world, and just having the most amazing elevated experience that you would imagine. But when it came to my hair never ever felt elevated with everything else in my life. I would talk to my CEO at the time. She is now my business partner. She has 2 daughters of mixed heritage, and we've discussed the tribulations of finding products for the coily textured hair community, and also the fact that there was never any experiences for us to go and do our hair in central London, or even if we did go to them, the professionalism was always poor. So that was where it all started. It started from a place of me feeling like there was a lack in my life of something, and I thought, you know what, I'm actually going to build the solution. As a brand, we've already created a number of legacies. We are the first Afro-textured hair salon to have ever existed in a renowned department store such as Selfridges. We are also the first British brand to have ever been on the Sephora Accelerator plan and then to launch onto Sephora.com. And we are also innovators. We are the first brand to discuss, or rather to talk about, the regeneration of hair through the development system of steaming. So we are not just here, to create legacies. We are here to be innovative. We are here to, encourage people to really love their crowns and honour their true selves. Thank you.
So let's start from the beginning. We know every entrepreneurial journey has a defining moment, a challenge, an opportunity, a spark of inspiration. Starting with you, Amy, what first compelled you to focus on violence against women and girls? And what was that defining moment that made this fight your responsibility?
Yeah, so Hassel started more focused on public harassment, and I personally have so many stories, and I'm not unique in any way of having a whole catalogue of experiences.
We were artists. We trained at art school, we had been working in galleries and museums and with artists, and we would make spaces where people would walk in and they would breathe out. They would go, wow, this is amazing. But we would do that in very kind of weird spaces. And so the logic was, why not translate that to this space and really undermine all the message that is being communicated to a patient at that time.
Excellent, thank you. Defining moments that we realized that something like this really needed to exist. And what was that?
I'll say it was when I looked in the mirror one day and realised my hairline was literally back to here, which there's a few of you out there that probably have that same experience. You've got the receding hairlines, traction alopecia, use of wigs, weaves, relaxers, whatever it is. And that's when it dawned on me that, you're spending all this money on wigs and weaves, the hair underneath isn't being loved, it's not being cared for. And I thought, you know what, we really need to honour what lies beneath, which is actually our strapline. So for me, it came from a place of me having, a problem. I speak to so many of my friends and colleagues, and it was, as I think now, pandemic. There is an edge pandemic. So that's where it started. It started from, me realising something needed to change. And I always feel that, we always say, oh, why isn't there this, that, and the other? And I think, there comes a time in your life that you're like, if that solution doesn't exist, we need to go out and make it work for ourselves and create that solution. So that was really where it came from.
Thank you. We've heard your whys. Let's dig a bit into the how you did it. So continuing with you, Judy, in building the brand, what were the realities, sacrifices, or challenges you faced building something from scratch?
I mean, even now I'll wake up and most mornings you look at the bank account about to go into the red or already in the red. And you're like, why? Why did I do this? I had an amazing job, I had an amazing life, and now the stress, the trauma, the adversities, the trials and tribulations, it comes at you a mile a minute. But to be honest, even though all that's happening, I absolutely love what I'm doing and I feel so fulfilled. And I think, it all comes from a place of purpose. We are a purpose-driven brand. So this is all about, a community feeling like they're deserving, they are seen, and also that there is a space for them, that they're taking, a seat at the table. So we're actually creating a world. This is bigger than a product. This is all about a community that has been unseen, unthought of in so many spaces, really stepping into the room and saying, this is being created for us. This is a safe space.
Amazing.
Thank you. Amy, how do you build around a difficult and such emotive issue? And what could traditional business leaders learn from movement building?
I think there has been so many challenges. As I say, we're still very new. I think one of the things that I found probably the most challenging was when I first started. The only thing that people could identify for me is I took photos of my feet when I was on the tube, not in a weird foot fetish way, but just to talk about the issue, right? And very quickly people were going, there's old white men trying to profit off women's fear, and like there was a lot of backlash and all this kind of stuff, and it essentially forced me into going more like public face with the brand, which was never what I wanted to do, and I still hate that to this day because that is not me at all. I just want to sit and do spreadsheets and that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think sometimes like for me it was, I guess, finding a purpose that was so much bigger than myself or my own dignity or whatever it might be. I think if you care about something so much, everything else matters less. Like once you find that thing, you just, I think also partly the ADHD, but like you become so obsessed with it that, as I say, my own sanity, vanity, whatever it might be, comes secondary. But yeah, I think it is just from a leadership perspective, I always kind of say it's surrounding yourself with people that get it. Because a lot of people tell me I'm delusional all the time, and that men will never change and X, Y, and Z. But we have such an amazing community of people around us. As I say, not just our ambassadors, but followers and like the people, my team and things like that. I think it's surrounding yourself with people who get your vision, that are as bold as you or as delusional as you, whatever you want it to be. Making sure you're around those people because otherwise the noise can get really tricky.
Yeah.
And if you care about something that much, you need to make sure it happens because that's the thing I think will see you through more than anything else. So,
Yes.
Did when we went to the NHS and we said we would really like to try and help you to change these spaces. There were so many entrenched assumptions about what people are, who they are, what they need, what they are capable of as people with a severe mental illness that made it seem incredulous that they would be able to participate in an art program, that wonderful artworks could be on the wall. And so a lot of the work that we've had to do around hospital rooms is helping people to have courage to kind of stick their neck out and to try something that's different from the kind of institutional environment that they might have trained in. They might have been in for the majority of their careers, that they've seen again and again and again, and give them an opportunity to try something else.
Thank you. And speaking on courage and conviction, Amy, have there been moments when you doubted the mission was even achievable? And how did you stay committed?
I think again, don't know if it's delusion, but I don't think I've ever doubted that it's possible because we see it every day. We see men especially being like, this is the first time I feel like I can help, but also get it wrong. And that might kind of seem, women have a lot more challenges in the world, absolutely. But I think I've found more than I even thought that there are so many men out there that genuinely will help. They just are afraid of speaking for women or over women or feeling like it's not their place, or just like they don't really have to because they have privilege and so they don't do it. And I think that kind of thing, seeing that happen in real time in such a short space of time, I know this is possible. Like I absolutely do. When people say, oh, nothing's going to change, violence is inevitable, X, Y, Z, but everything was that way throughout the entirety of history until it wasn't, right? Like everything was the way it was until it no longer was. So why can't we change that? But yeah, I think more, not that if the mission was possible, more sometimes I guess doubting my ability to execute the mission from a resilience perspective, because I think it is just, you have the mental difficulty of running like any business, right? But then you also have the mental challenge of hearing the most harrowing, awful stories every day. And then you have the mental challenge of people telling you, I don't know, doubting your integrity and all this kind of stuff. And then you have people telling you, it's never going to work, it's never going to happen. And then you have men, like we have had so many bad incidents with men. We've had a man upload a picture of his own to our public website reviews. We've had a man hijack a webinar with porn. We get death threats all the time. We get all this kind of stuff. So I think it's a resilience piece, but yeah, I think I never doubt that the mission is possible, and I hope that I will want to execute it, but if not, I hope I've started.
So, Nick, just exploring how building this hospital room has transformed you personally as a person, as a leader? Can you maybe give us key moments or instances of transformation you faced personally in building this hospital?
Yeah, so it's funny coming up to a 10-year kind of milestone and looking back on starting as a two-person outfit where we were very scrappy and on the ground and painting every wall and leading every workshop, to kind of midway through where we had a small team of 5 people where we were kind of, again, making it work, to today where we're a team of 22. And if you might imagine, you know, the challenges change, the challenges morph as you go along. And one of the things that I found most transformative really is how I work with my team. You know, we started as a friendship group basically, and we were all the same age, and you know, we were really working out together. Today, I'm not friend to my junior team anymore. You know, I am the CEO of Hospital Rooms, and I need to stand up into that role and be that leader for the people around me. And I've kind of made sure I've got a lot of coaching and training and help with stepping into that. But it's something that I really try to embody. And of course, it's very tough in the world that we live in. You know, I think we are constantly scanning the landscape and the environment to see, realistically, is this world coming with us? And actually, the answer might be no. And in that case, what do we need to do? And so I find myself living 3 to 4 years ahead and thinking to myself, what position do we need to adjust to? What skills do we need to develop within the organisation? What level of robustness financially where do we need to be? So that Hospital Rooms is not frivolous, lovely, added on extra. It is a fundamental piece of infrastructure.
I believe it.
Judy, as the steam bar grows, how do you balance commercial success with staying true to your original vision and values?
Well, like I said, we are a purpose-driven brand, and this is obviously a very authentic brand because it's come from a place of lack. So it's actually a personal experience that has led me to create this solution. And I feel that at the moment, there's so much going on in the world. So the Steam Bar is all about us creating that safe space, a place where we can come and pause. So as we, you know, when it's coming to scaling, in fact, I think I need to go back so it kind of makes sense what the Steam Bar is. The Steam Bar has 2 streams of revenue here. So we've actually got product. So we sell our products in Selfridges, we're exclusive with Selfridges. We just launched onto Sephora.com. And then we also have pop-ups. So like I said earlier, our first pop-up was in Selfridges. We've had 3 in total there. We've had one in Los Angeles. We are having one in Atlanta next week. And for us, it's all about creating an experience and bringing something to, you know, my community, which I think they're lacking. So there's finding that space of, you know, I'm also a mother. I've got 2 children. I've got obviously a disabled daughter, and I've got a son at Yale. So it's, you know, it consumes you. You know, when you have a startup brand, it consumes you. It takes a lot out of you. You're raising money. You know, you're trying to make sure that you can deliver to your retailers. There is like a whole mechanism going on behind the system. People always see what's like shop front. They don't really know what's happening operationally. And operationally really is the infrastructure of your business. If you've got a weak infrastructure, your back end's not working, your garden's not in order, you are going to have huge problems. So for us at the moment, we are growing slowly, I feel. People say, what you've done in 2 years, beauty brands haven't even done in 10 years. So what we're doing at the moment is exceptional. I also want it to be excellent. I want people, you know, we are trying to create a market in the black hair care industry that we can do excellent. You know, a lot of the brands out there on the market at the moment, they've got ingredients in them that are actually causing more damage than harm. I'm not being, you know, racist or anything, but Asian men selling products to our community. They have no idea what's even in the product, you know, they're monetizing on our community. It's time, I feel, for us to create our own generational wealth. You know, we're creating the generation that's coming up after us, you know, see what can be done. There will be no ceiling as far as I'm concerned.
Yes,
everybody will have their own table. So for me, you know, what I also learned as an entrepreneur is it's never a straight line. You have to be able to pivot. You know, you have to be able to pivot. And I think you just got to really have the stomach for it. It's not an easy thing. You know, people feel, you know, everything all about, you know, the glory. But I always say all that glitters is not gold. The hustle is real. You know, you've got to be an artful dodger. You've got to be able to take from Peter, to pay Paul, to pay, I say, Matthew Mark, Luke, John. Just like like I said, you know, this is about generational wealth. This is about, you know, and it's not even just about the steam bar. For me, like I said earlier, this is about creating a legacy, which will be my daughters. You know, creating the care home is the ultimate mission. So if this is successful, you know, that will follow soon. So I'm going to say this now. I want every single person in here. I mean, it's not about this, about selling. But I really want you to support the steam bar, because that is the weak spot as well, that our community does not connect and support our own. I know it's really sad, but it's the truth. At the moment in Selfridges, 80% of my clientele is Middle Eastern. You know, they are buying my products. I mean, a lot of people from Nigeria as well, you know, order the products to Lagos, Abuja, wherever it is. But I really think there's so many more of us here that really should be on the journey, because, you know, if we don't buy, Selfridges, Harrods, whoever it is, looks at it and says, their community is not even buying from them. So why do we even have them in here? And then we wonder why our, you know, Black-owned brands go into bankruptcy, you know, don't do well. It's because the community really does need to be behind.
That's true.
Is we're working with industry leaders either at a national or international level to build strategic change and strategic initiatives within each industry, especially more predominantly male industries. So think like sport, construction, utilities, music, all those kind of areas where men still dominate, and where, I mean, everyone rings me every day and it's like, oh, this misogyny is really bad in my industry, and I'm like, yeah, during the queue. But we're really focusing on those industries that, you know, not only have internally but externally when it comes to the public. For example, construction. So many examples of this kind of public harassment issue. My goal long term is that Hassel becomes a global identity. Wherever you are in the world, you see that logo and you know that that form of transport, that hotel, that bar, that not just hospitality, that builder that comes to work on your anything. Yeah, university campus, whoever said that, yeah, absolutely. But you can find, wherever you are in the world, that you see that icon, like you see, I don't know, Fairtrade or TripAdvisor or whatever it is, and you know that they've invested in your safety so much so that you aren't having to invest in it yourself. That's my ultimate goal. My maybe ultimate goal is that Hassel becomes a blueprint to tackle other social issues. Women's safety is not, every social issue has kept me up at night since about the age of 7. So I would love to start tackling other social issues using Hassel as kind of a blueprint. We've done it self-funded, purely organic growth, marketing-wise, that we don't spend any money and things like that. And I think that's a way that we can replicate and create social change at mass scale globally without necessarily the barriers that are often in place when it comes to startups and entrepreneurship in general. So that would be my ultimate goal, I guess.
Judy, when people look back on the steam bar in the future, what legacy do you hope it leaves beyond the products?
I would like people to think that they were seen, they were in a safe space, that we created, you know, a concept in hair where it allowed our community to really care for what lies beneath. So our strapline is actually what lies beneath. And I think a lot of the time people feel that their hair defines them. And what lies beneath is saying, you know, look into yourself, look deeper, because, you know, we all have a purpose, we all have a calling. So this brand for me is more about, you know, wellness, creating a world where everybody can come into it and take a seat at the table, and also that it goes beyond hair. I want our community, and whether it's, to be honest, we're a brand for anyone that wants to care for their scalp. But I do really want the community to feel they've come into a space where they are deserving. I also would like to be of inspiration. You know, I'm 53 now, but I was 45 at the time. I gave up my job, single mom. You know, I had a son at private school. I didn't even know how I was going to pay the school fees. He got into Yale on a scholarship, so God is good. God is
It's good, amen.
So, as far as I'm concerned, I love, you know, people to look at the brand, the founder as well, to say, okay, look what she did. I can do that. I don't come from beauty. I come from a completely different industry. But I believe whatever you put your mind to, you can actually achieve.
And finally, beyond organizational growth, what does success and meaningful influence look like to you today? And what do you hope future generations will inherit from your work?
Well, I suppose the ultimate goal is that if anybody walks into a mental health hospital, that they would not feel shamed and frightened, that they would feel seen and valued and understood, and that this is not the end for them, that they have a future. And that is what we are working towards tirelessly. But I also really want to demonstrate that social justice work is valid work. You know, I get asked quite often, you know, what's your real job? You know, that the hospital rooms is only a charity because that is the correct business model. We put artworks that might be valued at hundreds of thousands of pounds on the art market in spaces that are completely underfunded. So that's the only business model that would work. So thinking about social justice models that actually can pay us properly, that can build in the amount of care that is required for people who are doing the work, and that can be viable propositions with valid business plans behind them. So that is what I see for hospital rooms, is to be that vision of an organisation that is financially viable, that pays its staff very well, with projects that are well funded, that can last into the future in the climate that we're trying to work in.
Super. Amen to that. I think that's an inspiring note to end our discussion, and I will now open it up to questions from the audience. If you please raise up your hands and introduce your name when you ask your question. Is there someone helping with the questions?
Oh.
I have the mic. I'm the mic. My question is to Judy. You're located in Southbridge. To be fair with the Black community, when you hear that, you think, oh, expensive.
Yeah,
Do you intend to open in a strategic location where it's easily accessible and then more people can approach it? Secondly, it's a continuity question. Do you intend to go into the stock market in terms of sell your products, sell shares? Because also that the long-term continuity of the brand really to be nice to think about that.
Okay, so
Great
firstly,
question.
we went into Selfridges because when we did a forum, like research, and people tend to want to go into salons to get their hair done after work. So a lot of people work in the West End and they're like, never can find a black hair salon in the West End. So obviously going into Selfridges made sense. So also you'll be surprised the amount of people of colour that are shopping in that department store already. So for them it was perfect. It was like, I'm going shopping, going to go to the salon afterwards, can even have a glass of champagne in there and some lunch if you fancy. I mean, it was all going on. And what this was about was we wanted to bring an extremely elevated experience. I mean, it was insane. We had celebrities from the US, all over the world, you know, reaching out, can we come in? So for us, the initial salon pop-up was, you know, to create hysteria and momentum, which we did. Like I said, we went into Selfridges 3 times, but we are quite happy. If salons, you know, want to collaborate, then we're quite happy to. But also at the same time, it's all about retention and it's also about your cash flow. So we obviously sell products at Selfridges. So for us to go into Selfridges, they gave us the space. They see firms sitting on the cap table. We've even got Marcus Rashford and his family sitting on the cap table. We've got Cat Kitson. I mean, we've got some amazing investors. I've got one in the room at the moment with me, over there spying on me to make sure that I'm talking correctly. So anyway, we are always looking for people to give me cash. So if anyone wants to, like literally, we're doing a fundraiser at the moment. It's friends and family. I mean, we've had the likes of L'Oreal, Unilever, Estee Lauder. I flew to LA, Los Angeles to meet them. So we've had all the big strategics, have their eyes on us. They're already like, you are going to be a $1 million brand, which I know already. But I really would love, my cap table at the moment is predominantly Caucasian people. I would love to have some more Black people. I'll be honest, spoke to a lot of Nigerians. They always promise, they never write that check. So I'm just saying. So that's the answer. So if anyone does want to invest, I'll be happy to have your money. Oh, by the way, I'm a Nigerian.
Thank you so much for sharing your journey so far. My name is Mary. I'm a PhD researcher at Plenary Business School, where I'm researching women in entrepreneurship, particularly women building businesses that scale, attract investment, create jobs, and expand into new markets. Concerning, so many women are active in entrepreneurship, as we could tell, and Nigeria in particular has one of the world's highest numbers of women in business. But when you look at businesses that scale, like you said, attract investment, create jobs, expand into markets, shape the future, sort of what you would call high growth businesses, we find very fewer women in those sectors. And so my question is, in your experience, what has helped the most for women like yourselves move from just starting a business to building one that actually scales? That'd be helpful to know. Thank you.
Amy, do you want to take that, please?
Yeah, sure. I would say, so I've previously worked in several startups and I also did my degree in entrepreneurship. So I always built Hustle with scalability at the forefront. Like every single thing was, how can I reach the most people, create the most impact with the least amount of money? I am trying to avoid investment at all costs. I have worked with investors before, I've pitched for investment, all that kind of stuff when I've had previous companies and worked in startups and stuff, but because what we're doing is so values driven and because it is so focused, I am so clear on what our mission is. Like any time that a company that we're working with comes to me and goes, oh, maybe we could get women too, I go, nope, no, that's not what we're doing. Every time they go, safety app, self-defense class, no, that's not, and I will never compromise on that. I will also never compromise on the fact that we are global. I will never compromise on all of these things, and investment has, there's great value in getting investors, absolutely. It depends what your goal is, like especially if you want to sell at some point. I don't, like that's not my goal. But I also think that, unfortunately, knowing as a woman, it is firstly so much harder to get investment, like knowing those barriers are there. I think when women do get investment, it's an incredible achievement because, not just women, but especially women who are part of marginalised groups especially, it's even harder. But I think there's such a narrative around investment is the only way, and what we've done to scale is I did everything first myself, so I never introduced something new or hired someone to do something before I'd done it and optimised it to the point where it cost us the least amount of money for the most impact. But also, as I say, like marketing-wise, we don't spend money on marketing. A lot of companies, one of their big costs is marketing. There is organic marketing like never before, with social media, with even just like word of mouth, with events and all this kind of stuff, where you can go viral, which was never the case not that long ago, right? So I think it's really utilising those organic strategies. I think it is, as I said, I think working startups and seeing founders fail time and time again. There's a lot of mistakes I didn't make because I saw them happen that I probably would have made otherwise. So I think almost not underestimating that value either. If you can go get experience in different startups. If you can, yeah, be on the ground. Sometimes big companies, you don't get that same exposure to a lot of the challenges and, yeah, mistakes, very costly mistakes. I think that's allowed us to scale and grow so quickly, but it is just having that scalability piece right at the forefront if that's what you want to do. Not everyone wants to scale up a business, right? But yeah, sorry, that was a lot of, so hopefully that kind of covered it.
Thank you. I think we have time for just one more question.
Just start talking. Just start talking.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Here's my question. It's okay. Because I'm a teacher. I don't know online learning as well. So when I moved to the UK, getting some of the parents, getting clients was a bit challenging because it was, it's just all same Nigerian. So it took a while, but with time, I got the trust from parents and the children started coming in. And it got to a time, so I was thinking about upscaling, and I got advice, why not just get a franchise of an existing, well-known tutoring company here in the UK? And I told myself, as much as I appreciate partnership, as much as I love to partner with people, as much as I love collaboration, it wasn't something I want to do. I just feel, I'm going to give it time, and it will grow. So I don't know if that's a right decision, if it's a good one or not. So that's my question.
One is that kind of personal.
I really want to thank Kate because her time.